have a few folks from Ohio and a couple folks from Illinois. The purpose of this call is not so much to get ground level agents on in the training, but to start educating some of the folks we are targeting to become channel managers. And what does it take to be a channel manager?
Muted.
Folks that have an interest in building out an organization under them, folks that have an interest about recruiting and helping train / manage those agents as well. But first and foremost, to be a leader, you have to be very good at your craft, and this is the first step in that direction, is becoming very technically sound when it comes to electricity, credit card processing, so on and so forth. So today we will be talking in detail of first few side notes. Through the presentation, as we will do for all of our presentations, it should only last between 10 and 12, maybe even 15 minutes. Everyone's going to be on mute just to cancel out any of the background noises, but at the end of the day, or at the end of the presentation, there will be a question and answer conversation, and we can flesh out any concerns, points of detail that need to be fleshed out, and then go from there. So throughout the webinar, just take notes as far as anything that you might want to ask during the Q&A, and we'll just go from there. Okay? Oh, Ryan Skoleski has arrived. Ryan, you're on mute, but I can see you, and I owe you a phone call afterwards as well. So without further ado, it's 4:02. We're going to try and stay on track and go from there. So today we will be talking in detail about the Navigate Business Solutions electricity program. This training module is intended to cover the 80% or so of electricity sales that you'll need to know to make you dangerous in dealing with your opportunities. It will cover what we call the high probability opportunities. No doubt you will have various questions as we go through the module. I recommend that you write your questions down, as you'll have an opportunity to ask them at the end. There are some points we have discussed, but I think you'll find them important to understand and convey when dealing with your future clients. This module will cover the following parts. We'll talk about the markets by utilities for both Illinois and Ohio, how those markets work in terms of deregulation. We'll cover some key terms and definitions, some industry lingo. We'll discuss the three parts to the electricity bill, as well as calculating current energy rates. We'll discuss the current market rates and matrix pricing from various suppliers. Then we'll finally calculate savings and walk through saving summaries. We'll also discuss pricing and contract processing. We'll talk about the online document center that we've set up and we'll continue to maintain with updated documents, marketing material, et cetera, that you guys will have access to. And then we'll have a general discussion about building a portfolio and what it's really going to take to not only make our relationships successful, but more importantly, ensure that you guys are getting out of the program what you're looking to get financially and monetarily. First, there are different market footprints in each state outlined by the local distribution companies, or LDCs. LDCs, local distribution companies, are responsible for delivery, maintenance, and meter reading services and are regulated by the state government. So as you can see, we have AEP, the Illuminating Company, a First Energy company, Dayton Power and Light, and Duke Energy in Ohio. And then for Illinois, it's split north and south, Commonwealth Edison, or ComEd in the north, and Ameren in Illinois. When electricity was fully regulated by the state governments, the LDCs were responsible for three phases: electricity generation, delivery of the power over their poles and wires, and then meter reading and billing. If there was a power outage or interruption in delivery services, the LDCs were responsible for maintenance and reconnection. After deregulation, the local utilities were no longer responsible for generating electricity. said they bought their power from the open market. Because utilities must guarantee electricity supply for all customers, they make purchases as a socialized procurement program. The resulting default electricity supply programs are not always the most competitive. We represent the market's top-tier retail electricity suppliers, or RESs. These suppliers compete for our customers' electricity supply, leading to very competitive savings of 15 to 40%, if not more. The best part is the local utility, AEP, FES, Duke, DP&L, ComEd, and Ameren are still responsible for delivery, maintenance, meter reading, and billing. Remember, this is not about a change in service. It's just about paying less for the exact same services. Here you'll find some key definitions and terms, industry lingo, if you will, that will help in future conversations, both internally and with the clients. Some things, key ones to focus on are RES, that's retail energy suppliers. Those are our suppliers. Annual usage is the quantity of kWh that our clients use on an annual basis. So you'll hear me ask you, hey, how big is the dealer? What's their annual usage? The transfer price is the price we get from the RES. Contract price is the transfer price plus the margin we add in equals the contract price. 1 mil is 0.001 per kilowatt hour, or a tenth of a penny per kilowatt hour. So that's how we gauge our margin. The term, number of months contracted, 12, 24, 36 months. We can actually go all the way out to 60 months. ESA is Electricity Service Agreement, simply the paperwork that binds the client to the supplier. kWh, a cool little graphic is to your left. What's a kilowatt hour? Unit of measurement for electricity. Yes, but kilowatt hour is simply a 100-watt light bulb. Imagine you have 10 of those, and they burn for 1 hour. That's how much electricity goes into 1 kilowatt hour. So a megawatt hour is 1,000 kilowatt hours. POR, and you'll get to understand this when we talk about contracts and pricing, is the purchase of receivables. It's synonymous with UCB, which is Utility Consolidated Billing. LDCs, we touched on that before. It's the local distribution company or delivery company. It's the local utility, all synonymous with each other. PJM, Pennsylvania, Jersey, Maryland, it's the grid operator. So you have, let's say for you Illinois folks, ComEd or Commonwealth Edison is the LDC, the local distribution company. They're part of the larger grid, which is the PJM grid, which covers multi-states. In Ohio, same thing. If you're in Cleveland with FES, the illuminating company, or AEP in Columbus, or DP&L down in Dayton, Cincinnati, all those LDCs or local distribution companies are part of the larger grid that comprises PJM. LOA, letter of authorization, it just authorizes us and the REF to view usage and enroll accounts. Then LOE, it's a letter of exclusivity, so perhaps there's another broker that's working on the account. Simply have the client sign the letter. It says, hey, instead of going with your other broker, you're going to price out through us, and that gives us the rights to go ahead and price out through all of our suppliers. Again, this is just a rough overview. Give us some groundwork for moving forward. We'll revisit some of these terms and price definitions later on. It's important to understand that there are 3 primary parts to each electricity bill. Number 1, energy supply charges. Number 2, delivery service charges from the LDC. And 3, taxes from the state and local government. Delivery services and taxes are regulated line items. There are tariffs that only change on an annual basis and must go through legislation. For all intents and purposes, we're looking at energy supply charges only. There are over a dozen energy-related charges within the energy supply charge section. The LDCs typically bundle the charges together on their bills into a few line items. So when comparing prices, we like to calculate the all-in price to compare. Okay, it's called the all-in price to compare. The best way to calculate the price to compare is simply add all the energy-related charges together and then divide by the usage or the kWh. So for this example, and in this month, the total energy supply charges as you can see, equaled $1,989.93. The total usage equaled 23,500 kilowatt hours. So when we take 1,989.93 divided by 23,500, the all-in price to compare equals 0.08468 per kilowatt hour, or 8.46 cents per kilowatt hour. Now, what you're going to ask yourself and what you're going to make a point of asking to your clients is this: is that a good rate or a bad rate? How do you know? Well, let's take a look at the wholesale electricity prices. This graph of historical prices is our biggest selling tool, as it shows where the electricity prices have been and where they are currently. We discussed previously, but it's important to highlight this section. Back in 2008, energy prices across the board were at an all-time high. So when you look at historical oil prices, you would have seen that they were at $175, $180 per barrel. Natural gas was well over $1 per therm, and electricity prices were close to 10 cents per kilowatt hour. At that point, I was in New York. We were actually selling power at 28 to 30 cents a kilowatt hour. As you can see, the competitive market has trended downwards the past few years. So remember, customers currently receiving electricity supply from the LDC or who were contracted in previous years at a fixed price have prices on their bills in the high 6-cent range to mid 8-cent range per kilowatt hour. We're now seeing our power prices being contracted in the high 5 cents to mid 6-cent range with margin included. So again, we're saving businesses money, we're protecting their bottom line, and we're all able to make a living. Now, there are two ways we receive pricing. Number one, we can custom price requests, which takes between 12 and 24 hours to get a reply from a supplier. Or number two, we can price off the daily matrix from our suppliers. Here we see an example of Direct Energy's daily matrix. As you can see, the start month of the contract would be August 2013. Across the top, and my apologies, it's a little bit small, but you can see what we call the usage columns declared in megawatt hours. So for example, when you see 0 to 74 MWH or megawatt hours, we're really saying 0 to 74,000 kilowatt hours. Because of our previous used example of 23,500 kilowatt hours per month, we can estimate that that customer used on an annual basis roughly 282,000 kilowatt hours per year. So 23,500 kWh times 12, 282,000 kWh per year. Based off the annual usage, we can locate the no margin transfer price for 12, 24, and 36 months, highlighted in yellow. So for example, we simply went to the 250,000 to 490,000 kilowatt hour column, and the 12 and 24 month pricing is highlighted in yellow. For 12 months, you can see the transfer price is $46.39 per megawatt hour, or, since we divide by 1,000, 0.04639 per kilowatt hour. Pricing increases slightly the longer the term because there's more risk built into the pricing. So it's important to note all of our suppliers buy the full contracted usage amount 100% upfront. You're essentially explaining to your customer that you're negotiating on their behalf to have the supplier use its cash and credit to secure 12 months, 24 months, or 36 months of power by purchasing those loads at one time. Once we have identified the most competitive transfer prices, we add our margin to each deal. remember, we calculate margin in terms of mils, or 0.001 per kilowatt hour, or a tenth of a penny per kilowatt hour. We call these increments mils. In this case, we added 10 mils, or a full penny, to each transfer price. Notice that the transfer price of 0.04639 per kilowatt hours for 12 months became 0.05639 per kilowatt hour for 12 months. A full penny has been added in. We do this for all suppliers and present the bids on a comprehensive savings summary for comparison. As you can see, Direct Energy was the front runner, saving the customer roughly $8,000 a year, or 33% for 12 months, 31% for 24 months, and then back up to 33% for 36 months. We're making the assumption that the LDC's prices go up about 5% year over year. The best part is the delivery and the maintenance service and billing remains the same. The customer is just paying less for the exact same service. Requesting pricing is pretty easy. Simply send an email to sales@navigatepower.com. The subject line should read in the exact format: price request _ name of the business. Then you're going to want to attach a copy of the energy supply bill for future reference and verification. In the body of the email, we ask that you follow the format that includes business name, DBA, if any, full service address, account number, and business phone. Also, include what type of pricing you would like and the anticipated start date. Again, once submitted, you can expect a 24 to 48-hour turnaround period depending on the request volume. And this is simply if you want to custom price a deal and take the chance to get a more competitive price. Otherwise, you can revert back to the daily matrix that goes out to all consultants every morning. Once the customer understands and would like to enroll, the paperwork is fairly easy as well. All suppliers have a boilerplate industry standard contract that covers the basic terms and conditions. What's unique to all customers is the offer sheet. As agents, you're responsible to accurately fill out all paperwork and declare the contract price and term. Basic business and contact information at the top, account information in the middle section, and then you can see where you declare the price in the lower right-hand corner, and the contract term by checking the box. All prices are written in cents per kilowatt hour to the 5th decimal point. So they're all written 0.0, for example, 5639 per kilowatt hour. You're going to get a signature at the bottom and date. And then when it comes to the terms and conditions, or what we call the T's and C's portion, you'll just need a simple signature or an initial in the box. It's just that easy. Now, if you're with the customer, and most agents have good habits to choose to fax in the contracts from the customer's office to ensure timely enrollment, you may do so and just supply a cover page with this information. However, in cases where you're submitting via email, you can send to sales@navigatepower.com. In the subject line, follow the format contract _ business name and attach the contract package. The contract package should include a copy of the energy supply bill, one for account number, the signed offer sheet, the initial terms and conditions, and a signed LOA or letter of authorization if required. Ensure all paperwork is included. It saves us time, saves you time, and ensures accuracy and payouts. The golden rule is submitting contracts by 5 p.m. to help operations. But obviously, if you're closing deals late at night, as most of our agents do, we can always make exceptions. Booking and confirmations. As soon as the supplier enrolls the deal or books a deal, the confirmation is sent out from the supplier to our operations group. Confirmations are then forwarded from the supplier to your email account. we ask that you help us in keeping your good personal records for commission reconciliations at the end of each month. And from soup to nuts, that is 80% of electricity. So before I unmute it and we start having a candid discussion, a Q&A discussion, just quick couple rules of the question and answer. We do have 6 people on, myself included, and some folks are in a quiet area, some folks are in a noise area. So if you're not talking, please try and mute your phones to avoid any background noise. If you have a question, obviously unmute your phone, and I promise you every question will be answered. So without further ado, I'm going to unmute.
Unmuted.
So today we have Brian Carey from Florida. Fred, I don't believe we had a chance to meet yet, but Matt Zora from Naperville, Illinois, and Ryan Skoleski from Columbus. How are you guys today?
Doing good.
Doing well.
Excellent. Anyone have any questions? And I'm hoping you guys do. Anyone?
No.
By the way, tomorrow we're running a second module, and it's going to be for the merchant services side. But tonight we just wanted to focus on the energy and electricity side. Any questions? And also, Ryan, you and I were supposed to meet while I was in Columbus today, but we'll hopefully meet tomorrow or Thursday before I get out. So we'll talk offline regarding that as well.
All right.
And Dora, any questions? Fred says nope. Gotcha. Well, I'm very happy that this went well and it was well received. And Brian Carey is typing in his question. Energy, as you guys have probably already figured out, it's really easy. There's nothing tremendously difficult about the product or the concept. The biggest challenge is acquiring customers and just getting out in front of customers. And that's what we're looking to do with you guys and through you guys. A couple of things I wanted to highlight, and if you guys have your notes out, and a couple folks, so Fred's microphone isn't working. But Fred, if you have any questions, feel free to type in any questions. But Brian Carey asks, we went over a bunch of information, and I want to know if we could email the slides to review after the session is over. Yeah, Brian Sokola, who many of you have spoken back and forth with the past week and a half, we're recording this webinar along with the voiceovers, and we'll send you the video file and the data file after the meeting. So if you have any questions or wanted to review, you'll have that at your disposal as well. One thing I wanted to go over is where our documents are located online. So we have a website that we publish and maintain month in and month out as new documents, new market charts, and information from the market comes online. You can simply go to navigatepowerdocs.com, and I'm hoping everyone can see that. For you Ohio folks, simply click Ohio, and this is really geared towards the Illinois folks, but I added in the Ohio tabs. I'll have a separate Illinois tab as well to more centrally locate the documents. But for example, if you're in Ohio, you're going to click the Ohio market. You'll have 3 links. You'll supplier documents, historical market charts, and then the marketing sales material. And simply, if you click the supplier documents, you'll have each supplier that supports us in Ohio. A few more coming on board, but with all their contracts listed. So simply, everyone seems to have an internet connection. If you do, you can download those documents. and they'll pop up directly right onto your in an Excel or a PDF format, and you can simply just go away filling in the proper business information. It's just that easy. If any folks have any questions, let's do this. There's a small enough group, and again, these are all channel managers based on the email that I had from before. If I can be candid, so there's 6 folks on. I have Brian Carey, Fred, Matt Zora, and Ryan Skoleski. All of you expressed interest in building out in what we call an independent sales organization, where you guys use our processes, our licensing, back-end processes, operations group, so on and so forth. This webinar is going to be a tool that you guys can use for future trainings. I hope you guys got a lot out of this webinar. I can't wait to meet you guys in person. I'm very interested in helping you guys build a book of business, number one, but also once you guys get going, interested in investing in some sort of recruiting services where you guys can then start managing some agents/reps under you guys. And there will be an override system as we build the programs out. But that's our interest with the folks on this call. So I know Matt and I think Fred, you're out in Illinois. And then Ryan, you're out in Ohio, and Brian Carey, you're down in Florida. This is our interest, and I hope this was beneficial to everyone. I'm going to reach out to everyone personally after the call, and if you want to talk offline or have any other questions, feel free to voice those questions, and we'll go from there. Otherwise, it's 27 minutes. Just go ahead, someone call to talk.
Yeah, Mark, I just wanted to pipe in real quick. It's Brian Sokola. Everybody on the call as well, you have my contact information. Any questions you ever have, you could reach out to me at any time. I mean, anytime, 24/7. So I'm here to help as well.
Excellent. Sounds good. Well, hey, this has to be a great improvement over my 2-hour-long meetings. So we'll end the call, and then, Ryan, if you don't mind, I'll give you a call immediately afterwards. Thanks again, guys, for joining, and look forward to talking with you in the near future. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks.